way I deal with stress, but in interest of being real, I also choose exercise and outdoor time and occasionally reading.
Very nice. What kind of personalities do you find that it is difficult for you to work with?
The people that I have the most trouble working with are those that believe that they are always right. I don't remember the exact quote, but C.S. Lewis said something to the effect of, "It used to be that you could prove a man wrong with facts and he would change his viewpoint. Now people are entirely okay with carrying around conflicting viewpoints in their heads on any subject." And this comes out in a lot of discussions when people carry, and they'll come up with a point that contradicts something they said earlier, but they can't ever be wrong. Or they have their view on scriptures and they can't be wrong, and they're unwilling to hold any other's viewpoint, even for the sake of discussion. I feel that though it's important to have your own beliefs and your own strongholds that you believe in, it is necessary, especially for the sake of discussion, to be able to look at another's viewpoint openly. And even if you're faced with something that appears to invalidate yours, to consider changing your own, as we're all infallible.
Very true. Now this job involves a great deal of small group collaboration and interaction with your RA small group. What would you contribute to the group, and what would you need from them?
I think I would contribute a reality-based perspective. As I mentioned earlier, I'm very analytical. I've spent a lot of time in, not so much in the artsy side. I'm planning to be a lawyer, and that's obviously grounded in a factual base of law. I seem to have an ability to see whether something is feasible or whether something is not. In the context of this sort of a group setting, if someone were to have a grandiose idea of a plan that may or may not work, I think I would be able to give a fairly clear insight onto the potential problems, what could be worked out, what may cause large kinks down the road. Basically, a grounded perspective in reality on what is possible and what is not. Was the follow-up to that? What do I need from them?
Yeah. What would you want from them?
Where I do not have as much strength is in the area of imagination and creativity, things like that. In the group-based setting, well, I can easily kind of formulate ideas about what will work and what won't work and how things are going. Coming up with the original ideas in the first place is a little more challenging for me. I would need the other students, the other RA students, to be helpful in the more the brainstorming side of things. The planning, the coming up with ideas, and then once we had ideas, we'd run them past me, who could look at them, decide what was feasible, what was not, and in the end everything would go more smoothly.
Now you have to plan for the educational side of your dorm in your male hall. Now it's September. What needs to be addressed?
There are several things that I feel need to be addressed when something is planned. Often it seems that the planner overlooks pressing academic needs that are happening to a lot of the students at once. For example, if I was an RA in a freshman dorm and the freshman humanities class had a big test that day, most of the students would be unable to attend, and it would be necessary to reschedule to accommodate the academic needs of the students. Furthermore, in September, it's generally warm, but there may be cold weather. Weather is always an issue. If the event is off campus, transportation will need to be had in the form of buses, carpooling, etc. Basically, all the logistics of that nature.
Very nice. Now, what area do you feel specifically called to work in, and why?
I don't really have an area that I feel specifically called as regarding freshmen, sophomores, towers, freshman rows, etc. I've been homeschooled all my life, and this has resulted in me having a lot of friends of a lot of different age groups, and therefore I've never tended to take a strong bias toward kids my age, kids older than me, kids younger than me. I tend to see most people simply as students and not really even remember how old people are. Because of this, I really feel that I'm called to be in a leadership position, hopefully as an RA. However, I don't feel that God has called me toward any specific age group in general or dorm situation.
What are some strategies that you use to organize your time, and how do you prioritize your tasks?
For organizing, I use all the standard, find a little self-help book at Borders, what does it tell you, put it into your phone so it beeps, use a day planner, email yourself. The prioritizing is a little more tricky. I generally tend to do whatever is due first, calendar-wise. For example, if I had a big project on Monday and a little project on Friday, I'll probably do the Friday one first and save the big one for the weekend. However, there are obviously exceptions. If something massive is due directly after some trivial thing, it's prudent to do a large portion of the big one first and save the little one that won't take up much time after you've gotten a large chunk of the important one out of the way.
What does integrity mean to you, and how do you live a life of integrity? And give examples.
When I think of integrity, I think of what I want other people to say about me. For example, when someone hears the name Aaron Phillips, I want them to think, oh, I can talk to him about anything. I can trust him. If I ask him to do something, he'll do it. I probably won't even have to ask him. I merely have to hint, and he'll figure out what needs to be done, and he'll come through for me. I think that's the biggest measure of integrity, is having your peers trust you in all circumstances. Did I say give examples?
Yeah, give examples.
Give examples. I think another facet of integrity is, so they say, walking the talk. I think this is missed in a lot of Christian circles. And I think, for examples of integrity, I don't want to come across as if I'm simply being patronizing toward what the faculty wants to hear for an RA, but I've never really been one for partying, and I'm fairly vocal against the party, clubbing, dance, provocatively scene. And rather than just saying that when I'm around people I think wants to hear it, and then joining the nearest athletic, frat, whatever party on Friday and Saturday, I really abstain completely from the party and the club scene. And that's evident with when I talk to my friends who, I remember one example where a few of my friends were going out, they're going to go out clubbing and partying, and they're like, well, we can't invite Aaron because he won't be any fun, because he'll just not like it the whole time because he doesn't do stuff like that. And I think when that comes out of other people's mouths when they're not even around, it shows that I have successfully built up a reputation of integrity by telling people how I act and then acting the same way.
Now, exactly why should Pepperdine select you to be an RA?
To come back to what I was saying earlier, I believe that my stability and my ability to see what is realistic and what isn't will be very valuable to the group settings. Most importantly, I think that I can be a far friendlier and less imposing authority figure to whatever students are under me than a lot of the authority figures they've had in the past. I think this will be the biggest benefit to Pepperdine, is my ability to uphold the university's standards in the students' eyes, where they don't see me as a policeman working for the university, and therefore it is detrimental to their view of Pepperdine in general. They see me as a friend that has some duties that may occasionally have to be shown to, shown to them in their life and their actions.
Now, finally, last question. If you want to be a summer RA, say so. And if you do want to be a summer RA, are you available for training in April? And if you want to be an RA for the fall of next year, would you be available for training in August?
I'm applying for the fall 08, spring 09 academic year, and yes, I'm available for training whenever is required in August.
Very nice.
Thank you very much.